All right, guys, CrossFit Opens coming up. CrossFit quarterfinals are back. CrossFit Online semifinals for some of you guys. We're gonna have a lot of online this year. There's also online qualifiers coming up for so many different in-person events that you guys may wanna be competing in this year. And this is including Masters now as well. So we got a big year of online coming up. So in order to lock in on anything, I always turn my hat around, put it on backwards, and we can lock in. So we're gonna talk about today how to strategize online workouts. These are 5 ways that I actually go about really strategizing most workouts that I do with athletes. But there are some things that are very specific here to an online workout, okay? And this is the big one, especially for the open, okay? I always tell people when they watch open announcements and you see the best CrossFitters in the world attacking an open workout and you watch them do it and then you try to do the same strategy as the best in the world, you're probably going to die because you're trying to win an open workout worldwide that you can't win worldwide. What you also probably shouldn't do is ask the best person at your gym or your affiliate how they're gonna approach the workout because they also are probably better than you as well. And that's a serious reality. You don't wanna try to win the workout, and that's gonna lead us immediately into number 2. You wanna identify your personal limiters. So really the best way to approach a workout is stop trying to strategize or create splits or create things to get the fastest time that you think possible for that workout, versus analyzing your own self and your own limiters and identifying where those are so you can create a strategy that actually allows you to win the workout for where you're at, okay? So identifying personal limiters would be very simple things. What movements in the workout just came out for an open workout or announced that are a muscular limiter for you? What are breathing limiters? What are aerobic limiters? What are skill limiters, right? Like if you're someone who has 2 or 3 ring muscle ups and you get a workout that has 20, what's that gonna look like? Are you gonna start with singles? Are you gonna start by maxing out with 3 unbroken? Are you gonna do that workout last or first in the order? If it's a quarterfinal weekend, you have 5 days to do 5 workouts, right? Or other online qualifiers that come up and you only have 3 days to do like 2 or 3 workouts. Those are really important things so that you can pick the appropriate workout plan, whether you're doing workout 4 first or workout 2 first or workout 1 first, and then also identifying specifically for the workout so that you can create movement splits. Handstand push-ups always come to mind for me. It was probably my biggest weakness when I was an athlete. So I always used to have a really smart way to split up handstand push-ups. But it was also determined by whether it was a kipping handstand push-up, a deficit kipping handstand push-up, a strict handstand push-up, a wall-facing handstand push-up. All those things factored into how I was gonna split. What also mattered is what is it paired with? Is it paired with another pressing movement? Is it paired with other movements that are gonna affect the handstand push-up or the handstand push-up is going to affect? That would determine how I was gonna split the movements. This is usually the first place most people go is they see a set of 30 toes to bar in a workout and they're like, oh, I should split that up like 10-8-7, or I should split that up in 5s. They just immediately think like, how should I split up toes to bar versus identifying the limiters first and how the toes to bar are gonna affect the other movements in the workout, because that is actually what's gonna decide you to do, because you might be amazing at toes to bar. So maybe you won't have to split as much, or maybe you should split more since you're so good at them so then they don't actually fatigue you. We'll get to that at the very end. That's part of point 5. Then moving from there, when we look at movement splits and we kind of identify exactly maybe how we might want to split up each movement in a workout, okay? We're then gonna start to think about round splits. And this is a big one for like online because this really comes down to like reviewing videos and repeating that this is really big. We can make a guesstimate of round splits of like, hey, I think I can stay to 1 round every 2.5 minutes. And if it's an AMRAP, I'm gonna try to stick to that. Or even if it's a rounds for time, like I'm gonna try to complete this movement in 5 minutes, this movement in 2 minutes, and I'm gonna shoot for 5-minute rounds. Now, the first time you run through that on an online workout, you're probably not gonna hit that to the T because you're gonna come out a little fast because you're nervous, or you're gonna save too much in the tank because you're nervous and then have all this energy at the end and you're gonna be like, oh, I definitely could have went faster. That's when you film, right? You have to film for online workouts. You go back, you analyze. The first thing you do before anything is you take round splits of what you just did. Then you start to think about where did the round splits fall off? So you look at that, and then you see where you had your burst at the end, and then you try to analyze and come back with new round splits. And then based on those round splits, this is something like Brandon is incredible at, is he's really good. And I use Barkley for this. I don't do it myself. I outsource. Brandon does a lot of this himself. But they look at rep speed per movement and per rep and how your rep speed per rep falls down over the course of the workout. By doing that, I can take my round splits and I can take my movement splits and I can make new movement splits based on how my rep speed is falling off. And then now I can meet those round splits by maybe even splitting up movements more. Okay, so maybe let's use the toe to bar example again. For a set of 30 toes to bar, I did like a 10, 8, 7, or that's 25. Let's say 25 toes to bar, 10, 8, 7 on the toes to bar. And I rewatch it and I hold 10, 8, 7 the whole workout. But by the time I get to the last 3 rounds, my round splits are falling off and I'm resting longer between the 10, the 8, and the 7. And the the round of 7 toes to bar that I'm doing actually slows way down. I'm kipping way more. I'm like fighting to get a rep and my rep speed slows down. If that happens, maybe what I do now is I just go with all sets of 5 and I look at my actual original rep speed, the faster one, and I see that doing sets of 5, I can hit the exact same time per every sets of toes to bar that I was doing 10, 8, 7. I just have to stay committed to shortening the rest between 5s, right? And that's something I can analyze and do using round splits and paying attention to that, rewatching a video, and then changing my movement splits accordingly to the round splits I want to hit. Okay, then you grab a accountability partner or a judge, they write it down on a whiteboard to you and you stick to it the best that you can. And usually I always tell people, like, when you get to the last 2 or 3 minutes of a workout, depending on what it is, unless it is a 3-minute workout alone, you really just throw the round splits in the trash and you ask that judge to yell at you as loud as they can. Okay, finally, number 5, and this is kind of a weird one, but it's something I've really learned, I feel like, over the course of the years, is if you can identify your strengths in a workout, that isn't always the place to go the biggest or go the hardest in the workout. It's not always the place of catching up. I talk to people a lot about this when they're really good at machines in a workout, and this applies a little less to online because typically the only machine we see in online is a rower. So this kind of has to do a little more with not online, but again, same idea with a rower or really any machine in other places as well. But people who are really good at machines have this idea like, I got to get ahead on the machine. And typically that doesn't always pay off. A lot of times what I'll tell athletes to do is be like, if you're a great machine athlete and the workout opens with 50 calories on a rower, look at the people around you, try to figure out what they're gonna hold and just hold the same pace as them, even if you could hold 200 calories an hour or more, because when you get off that rower, you're gonna be in zone 2, zone 3, and they're gonna be in zone 4, zone 5. And now you're at an extreme advantage for the remainder of the workout. Okay, so what we wanna do is identify the strengths, pace where able, but then also at the same time, like, know when we have a strength and utilize it, right? I do this with a lot of athletes as well, that I just remind them like, hey, you're one of the best handstand push-uppers in the world. We're gonna split this a lot less than other people because there's another place in this workout where if we don't split it up a lot, you're going to die. And so we split up the one that they need to split up a lot and go a little bigger on the place where they know they can make up time. Also evaluating as well that by going unbroken on your strength, shortens the amount of rest and time before you return to the movement that you are weak at, where your limiter is. If you shorten the amount of time before returning to your limiter, does your limiter now get substantially worse? And so now you have to split it up even more. Sometimes a split or 2 on a strength can really play a role in resting extra before returning to your limiter so that you can actually hit the splits that you set out on your limiter. Something I would call a minimum, which is for another whiteboard topic, minimums versus maximums. Okay, so identify strengths, learn where to pace, sometimes pace a little more than you would like to, utilizing that strength to capitalize on maintaining limiter splits. Okay, one quick example, 3 rounds for time, 50 wall balls, 50 burpee box jump overs. This was a quarterfinal workout a couple years ago, I believe. I think it's either your most hated workout you've ever done, or if you're a weirdo, it's your favorite workout you've ever done. I know there's some of those in the CrossFit space. This is a crazy hard workout, but I feel like these 2 things apply the most. Obviously there's limiters in here for people. Is it legs on the wall balls paired with the burpees? For most people that I coached, at least, it really seemed to be shoulders on this one. The throwing of the wall ball and the press of the burpee really added up over the course of the time on the burpee. We felt a lot of shoulder fatigue and muscular endurance there. Obviously, tons of breathing in this workout as well for most people. But for some people, that might not be a limiter, the breathing aspect, so you really got to pay attention to the shoulders. So from there, after identifying where your limiters are, identifying where your strengths are, if you're a taller athlete, like a Roman, you might be insane at the wall balls. So you're probably going to use the wall balls a little bit because the burpees are just going to take a little longer anyways, versus like a Colton Mertens, right? He's probably going to be a little better at the burpee than the wall ball, even though he's an incredible squatter. This is probably a great workout for him, even though he's short. when I look at these things, you can identify both of those, and now you can start to look at this. Okay, so if Roman really is incredible at wall balls and I need him to excel at these big chunks of burpees without falling off in a ton of speed, what is something I want to do there? Well, I'm actually probably going to split the wall balls a little bit more. What I'm just going to encourage him to do is take really, really short rests, because a set of 50 wall balls at the end of the day isn't really hard for him. Okay, now that's the highest of the high athletes. If we're looking more at like open and quarterfinal level athletes, the sheer volume of this workout is insane. And I believe, I can't remember what the time cap was exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was 20 minutes. This is huge, because if you go look and hear about what the best athletes in the world are doing, you're going to be making a strategy to finish the workout. And most of us probably can't do that, or we can just barely finish. And so you better be making a strategy with the realistic expectation that you may not finish, or you may barely just finish, and you're setting up a strategy to do that. That's where round splits come in really good. What is the round split for the whole round that you want? Identify that first. Then look at the two movements. Which one can you do a little bit faster, and which one do you know will need time on? And not only that, but which one, this would be for me, which one will fall off? No matter what I do on a workout like this, and for most people this is true, even the best of the best in the world, you have to just be realistic that at some point, no matter how well you pace a first round, a movement is going to fall off because of muscular endurance. And you're not literally able to push yourself to your aerobic past your aerobic threshold, because your shoulders are literally cooked, okay? Burpee box jump over, very common for people to fall off in sets of 50 in some fashion, could be aerobic, but creating splits, understanding that my burpee box jump over might go from 3:30 in total time to 4 minutes in the third round. And even on the last round when I want to push, it might be like 4:10. And it may not fall off to a 4:30 if this was like a 4 round for time, right? And you knew you had another round, that third round would probably fall off even more than the third. You'll have a little burst at the end to find something. Most of us can do that. But looking at those specific timeframes per movement is really important, and expecting fall off. And then from there, I would look at movement split on this one. How am I going to split the wall balls? We're not going to split the burpee, obviously, but for some of us, we might be like, hey, I'm going to do 15 burpees and then stop and pause for 5 to 10 seconds, and then go back and do another 15 burpees, do another 15, and then finish with a small set of 5 before I go back to the wall balls for my shoulder. That might be a strategy we do. A lot of people don't think about doing that. They're like, I'm just going to move methodically through it, which is fine. I tend to learn that sometimes in these movements that we never really think about splitting up. Again, I'm talking to open and quarterfinal athletes. A games athlete would never split this up, but we need to think about would it be wise for me, muscular endurance wise, to pause for 10 to 15 seconds after every set of 15 in order to allow my shoulders to actually recover from a constant pressing motion over the course of 4 minutes. Right? And that would really help with the wall balls. And then when I go back to the wall balls, I'm just looking, how do I want to split this up? Is it 10s all the way through? Do I want a descending rep scheme because it helps me a little bit more mentally? Or do I want to start off with a bigger chunk every time coming off the burpees, or start the workout going like 20 and then I go 10s, or 25 and then 10s? Depends on who you are. Taller athletes probably want to go bigger on the wall balls. Again, I would reevaluate that so that you can maintain speed on the burpee box jump overs. So again, one more time. Don't try to beat the best in the world. Identify your personal limiters in the workout, both muscularly and aerobically. Start to make movement splits per movement in the workout, how you would approach and split those movements up. Then review videos and take round splits. Give your best guesstimate going into the first try. If you get to repeat because it's an online workout, make perfect round splits based on what actually happened. And then finally, always remember that along with identifying limiters, you're identifying strengths and learning and understanding how to pace those and use those to get the best or magnify your limiters. You want to get the best out of your limiter in a workout. That's how you get your best time. So if you can use your strengths in order to make those limiters a little more easy in the workout, is actually the appropriate word, so that they don't burn you out as much, then you've done a really good job pacing your strengths and identifying them so that you can create a perfect strategy that will allow you guys to succeed in the open, succeed in quarterfinals, and maybe even make it to online semis.